All right, we are back. It is time for Good Vibes. I'm Martin Falls here at HTV. Joining us now, our transformational coach with Good Vibes, Debbie Cox-Denova. Debbie, good to see you.
It's good to see you as well.
On this rainy day.
So rainy.
So this topic's perfect because on these rainy days, people look out the window and they go, oh. And I don't know why rainy days make people down because we need the rain, but we're talking about the science of happiness today.
Yeah, and I think there's a metaphor there. We need the rain. We need all ranges of emotions, and we're going to talk about that because a lot of people have it like they're not supposed to have any negative emotions. In reality, emotions just are actually there to help us survive, and the negative ones specifically are important for our survival. And so once you actually understand that and also understand this science of happiness, and there is a huge, at this point, a lot of science on happiness, you can actually generate the experiences that you want in this life instead of pursuing what a lot of people are doing, pursuing things that are not getting them there. And this information comes from the #1 happiness expert in the world. His name is Dr. Robert Waldinger. And he has identified 3 macronutrients, if you will, of happiness. So at home, I highly recommend, if you have a pen and paper, to start taking notes on this because this can literally change your life and your experience.
Macronutrients?
Macronutrients, and we need them in balance, okay? So the first macronutrient is enjoyment.
Okay.
The second one is satisfaction. And the third is meaning. Enjoyment, satisfaction, meaning. We need these in balance, okay? And we're going to kind of break them down for you so that you understand how to get them. So enjoyment is a very distinct thing from pleasure, all right? Pleasure happens in the limbic system. And with pleasure, what you're basically doing is you're tapping into the ventral striatum, which is the pleasure center of the brain. And what's there is that when you feel a hit of pleasure, Mother Nature is basically saying, get more of that because we need that to survive. So think sex and sugar, right? So we need sex to propagate the human race. We need sugar in order for us to actually have energy and move forward. But the problem, of course, in our modern day society is that society has sort of taken control of this and can inflate and engorge the pleasure center, which again is a very limbic experience. Enjoyment is different. Enjoyment is something that is actually more fulfilling and again, a macronutrient for happiness. So if you think about anything that you are doing that has an addictive property, and typically anything that's pleasurable has an addictive property to it. If you're doing it alone, you're probably doing it wrong, right? So if you think about Anheuser-Busch, Dr. Waldinger says, they don't put out a commercial of a guy sitting alone in his apartment slamming a 12-pack, watching TV, even though that's typically how the product is used.
Good looking hot chicks there.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And so they don't do that because everyone knows that's dangerous. That's actually going to lead to something bad, potentially alcoholism. What do though? They add 2 things that make it so that drinking beer actually it looks enticing. They add people and they add memories. So people might say, well, am I supposed to not drink, not gamble, not engage in things that actually give me pleasure? No, you can, but you want to add people and you want to add memories, and then you will be going into the prefrontal cortex and actually experiencing enjoyment. So of course, going back to that same example, if you look at the commercial, it's the guy clinking his beer glass with the friends at a bar, making memories together, and that connects the brand to something that actually leads to happiness, and that's why people respond to it. So if you're doing something, gambling, whatever it is, add people and memories to it, and you'll actually get enjoyment, and you'll be bringing yourself into prefrontal.
That's funny you say that. I was listening to a song by Lady A, used to be Lady Antebellum, says that something to the effect where they get addicted to the memory and not what the person was.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So memory is actually we're designed to get a lot of fulfillment out of creating these experiences together with people. So yes, it can actually be something that really generates good stuff. Now, what is satisfaction? Satisfaction is actually the joy that comes out of struggle and suffering, after struggle and suffering. So successful entrepreneurs already are very, very good at delayed gratification, right? If you're a successful entrepreneur or if you're successful at anything, you're probably really good at delaying gratification. We know about the marshmallow experiment, and there have been some kind of push back and forths about whether it's nurture or nature. But as a reminder, in a Stanford psychologist got kids, so he would sit across the table from children ages 4 to 8, right, in the 60s, did an experiment. And he had one marshmallow. Do you remember this experiment? And he said, listen, I have to go make a phone call really quickly. You can eat that marshmallow if you want, but if it's still there when I get back, you get 2 marshmallows. And all the kids said, I want 2 marshmallows, right? He left the room. 5 minutes later or so, he comes back. 80% of the children had eaten the marshmallow. 80% of the children could not delay gratification until he came back. What they found was that the 20%, though, those were the ones who went on to do more distinguished things. They got better grades. They ended up getting a better job, having better relationships. Delayed gratification is something that is important because it leads to satisfaction. And satisfaction is that joy that comes on the back end of denying yourself up front, right? And then knowing it's basically the brain going, okay, I'm going to do this thing. Remember we talked about Andrew Huberman's microsucks and macrosucks and how it develops the AMCC of the brain. So it's sort of like that pursuit of something, right? Well, if you think about it, that's what's happening there. If you are in the habit of denying yourself from the moment and actually even being willing to endure the microsuck or the macrosuck, what happens on the other end of it is that you get a sense of satisfaction. It's like, I did it. I ran really hard in the marathon. I crossed the finish line, right? I climbed Mount Everest and it was bad. It sucked, but I got to the top, right? So it's all of these experiences of delayed gratification leads to the second macronutrient, which is satisfaction.
We're going to come back. I always say, seize the moment.
Yes.
The moment is here. Grab it now because they may change their mind in 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll be right back. Great topic. Don't go away. It's all on Good Vibes. Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough. Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality. Terrebonne General Health Systems, modern technology and timeless caring. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bourke, know your rights. All right, we're talking about things that make you happy, the science of happiness with Debbie Cox DeNova. I was thinking of something during the break. Like Joni's happy when everything is flowing day by day, and I'm answering all her emails and I'm getting everything done. I'm happy when I have a chore to do and I'm diving into it, and then in my compartment, it's filed away, done.
Yeah.
Then I'm moving to the next thing.
Yeah.
Then the next thing. But then sometimes I'll circle back to something that I might have forgot.
Right.
So everybody has a different compartment where they put happiness, right?
Yeah, and it's really the experience, the connectivity that you have to all of the experiences. For one, someone who is enjoying a lot of happiness and moving forward in their life has connected positivity to the journey. So what you're talking about is like getting things accomplished all along the way. It's really important because most of the time you're in the journey. There's this arrival fallacy that we have, when the mind tells you, if I get that thing, Mother Nature tells you, if I get that thing, I'm just going to be so happy, right? And then you arrive at the goal and it doesn't feel quite as good as you thought. So then you go to the next thing and the next thing. Because the truth of the matter is, for example, he talked about, Dr. Waldinger talked about the weight loss industry. We know that this is tons of money is spent on the weight loss industry, and most people do not actually end up successful losing the weight for good, but all of them typically have some success at losing weight, at least a little bit. What happens there? Your mind tells you, as soon as I lose all of this weight on the other side, I'm going to be so happy. It's going to be so great. But then you lose all the weight and you do it with very laboriously, like not eating the things that you love, and you get there and you're thinner, but then your reward is essentially now you can't eat the things that you loved, right? And
I want pasta, I want spaghetti, I want meatballs.
Exactly. So then, because of homeostasis, wanting to get back to that baseline, you just start eating the things again, right? So it's really important what you're talking about with you and Joni is like you're connecting a satisfaction to the journey. Because really, if you unpack it, what we want is not the arrival. What we want is the process. And so when you have a good association to the checking off of the processes, one step in front of the other, you actually generate a lot more happiness quite natural, right? So, and about satisfaction is he says that what a lot of people who are very successful are having issues because they have a lot of wants. They've accomplished a lot of things, but there's still a lot of wants. And he says there's a formula. So satisfaction is your haves divided by your wants. So really it's a matter of actually wanting less, which is kind of it's a strange conversation, right? You're pursuing something, but you want it less, and really wanting what you have. So this comes a lot into sort of the spiritual practices of being able to move towards something without having that lack, that feeling of want, because that gets you on that hedonic treadmill of wanting more, of wanting more, of wanting more. And Mother Nature just keeps pushing the carrot out there. And you think at some point in time, I'm going to arrive there and I'm going to feel amazing, but it always dissipates. And then you're left wanting more.
Right. Some people want money things. People always ask me, man, who's the most important person you ever interviewed? I always say mom and dad.
Yeah.
Because you get to learn your history. But aside from that, they go, like, politician? No. A music band.
Yeah.
Like Little River Band of people we grew up with.
Yes.
That brings me more joy than interviewing Donald Trump or
Right.
somebody like that.
Right.
Because the association with the interview was fun, music. The other one is politics, just they're going at each other. Now, I would love to interview Donald Trump. But
Right. For the record.
yeah, but it's just people are shocked when I tell them that.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, it may go to meaning. So that's the third macronutrient is meaning. So if you're having a meaning crisis, there are three components of meaning that you may want to look at. Coherence. Okay. And so coherence is that things are happening for a reason. So lots of people connect different reasons, but you need to decide for yourself, what is the reason that these things are happening? Because if you don't have that, then you can have a crisis of meaning. The second thing is purpose, okay? So life has a direction. I'm going in this direction for this reason, right? And the third is significance. It would matter if I wasn't here. Okay, so if any one of these components of meaning is compromised, you'll have a crisis of meaning, and that is a huge macronutrient for happiness. So you want to make sure coherence, purpose, and significance. The other thing is that you want to make sure you're choosing intrinsic goals. We've talked about this before. Okay, so what most people will choose goals based on is money, power, pleasure, and fame. We talked about that last time too. Money, power, pleasure, and fame is only going to bring you happiness if it is a goal on the way to or that's connected to one of the more transcendent intrinsic goals. And those are faith, family, friends, and serving others. So write that down. Faith, family, friends, serving others. There's nothing wrong with having money goals, but connect it to something more meaningful. So I'm making a lot of money so that I can have more experiences with my family on vacation, right?
Or give more to my church.
Or give more to my church, exactly. Or, I want more fame or significance so that I can reach more people with this message that is more meaningful to me.
See, money, you can lose it all one day.
Yep.
So if you're basing your happiness on money, it's gone.
Yeah.
Fame, one day I won't be on TV.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have joy sitting on the bank of a bayou just throwing a line.
Yes.
Because that's how I was brought up.
Yes.
So we all replace how we were brought up with something, and we go, can't wait to get back to how I was brought up.
Yes. So
Depends on how you look
if
at
at home you have, if you have a goal that is money, fame, power, it's okay. What you need to do is just sit with it and create more meaning. Connect it to something deeper that has to do
Like
with
been there,
the
done that, got the T-shirt.
Yes, you do. You have for
All
sure.
right. So now, give me the bamboo pole.
Yes.
I'm ready to perch jerk.
Amazing.
All right, great topic. Good.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you again on Good Vibes right around the corner. Don't go away.